Uncensored, no holds barred talk. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is the Global Reality Radio Network.
Here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us here for tonight for another late-night Moonbat edition of the broadcast. It's the Monday edition of the show, June 18th into Tuesday, June 19th, 2012. We thank you for being with us here tonight for another show. Slight on the news again, but we do have some very interesting news stories here to get into and talk with you about tonight nonetheless. Not quantity, but definitely some interesting stuff to get into and discuss with you here on the show tonight. So thanks for being with us. And we'll get into what we can and what there is to get into. That's why I've been starting the show. It's just been later and later. I've been starting it just because it's, it's like, well, there's not, it's just, the past couple weeks, man, it's just been slow for the news cycle. And unless you want to sit up here and just rehash the same old shit over and over again, which I don't. I'd rather not do a show at all, work on my films or whatever, than get up here and rehash the same shit every day, or get up here and, let's talk about the Constitution College now. I just, whatever, and I think that's what a lot of people wind up doing, just for whatever reason. I don't know. Rehashing the same old shit, though, which is not interesting to me. My website where this broadcast originates from is theglobalreality.com. That's theglobalreality.com. You'll find everything at that website according that pertains to my work. And you will find everything up there, including my documentary films, all the ones I've made up to this point, from 9/11 New World Rising, my first film in 2007, to the Sea Ride Volume 1 in 2009, and the Sea Ride Volume 2, as well as a whole slew of mini-films, mini-documentaries, and everything else up there as well. We also have the 4-minute preview for the newest piece of work I'm doing, the film's actually going to be called The Lost Secrets of Ancient America, Volume 1. We have a 4-minute trailer that we made for, promotional purpose, trying to get people interested in the film. And it's just, it's such, I've talked about this before, but it's such a strange, contradictory situation for me to be in here with this film. It's unbelievable. There's more interest in this than anything I've ever done, but there's just zero money, zero funding. I can't find anybody or anyone to wants to put any money in this, but everybody wants to see this, and everybody wants this info, and is very interested in it. But as far as there being people interested in funding the project, it's few and far between. So I kind of don't really know what to do. I mean, the only thing that I really, where I'm at right now, is just I'm in a total standstill, really. I mean, I've worked as far as I can work without having, the budget that I need to do it. And we have an emergency film budget up there because we didn't meet the goal on the last two budgets we had, so we tried again. And we're still about 2,300 light or so. And, you know, it ends this Thursday, June 21st is when emergency chip-in banner ends for the film budget. We just paid the stream bill as well. We got 3 supporters in last week to help us do that. So we're down to just a few dollars in our account now. But trying to get this film done and trying to get volume, because the thing about it is, as I've told you, I mean, you know, I have the interest of this TV production company, Left Right Productions. It may be, you know, may be interested in help me get a TV show thing going for this. They already want me for this homicide show that they're doing. Then I've got, you know, some other interested parties who are interested in possibly, you know, helping us do the dig aspect of this. But I got to fund this volume 1 and get it done. And I had been keeping this a secret because I wanted it to be in the film, and I didn't want anybody to know about it yet. But now, because we hadn't had the funding, I'm not going to be able to do it because, of course, coming up this week, there's a reason why the chip-in banner for the film budget ended on the 21st. Because, of course, the 22nd, 23rd, that's summer solstice, of course. Well, all of these ancient mound sites, I mean, you can just pick any of them. They're all aligned to the solstices and the equinoxes and everything else. And so what I wanted to do, you know, and I can tell you that, and you can go look that up, and you can go verify that, and you can go to a place like the Serpent Mound in Ohio, and where they have the signs there posted that show where the alignments are and all that stuff. And you'll be able to see some of that, hopefully, in the film. I've got footage of it from the Serpent Mound. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to go to one of these. I wanted to be able to travel to one of these mound sites for the film and be able to get on tape the sunrise and sunset from the summer solstice. And, you know, that's short of a miracle, you know, unless somebody comes along and says, okay, here you go. You know, that's probably not going to happen now. You know, which, like I said, that was my whole point of doing it, wanting to do it for the film, was, again, you know, somebody can tell you this stuff is that way all day long, but, you know, to see it with your own eyes and to see the alignment happen there with your own eyes, it would have been something really awesome for the film. That's, you know, it's not going to happen now, I guess. So it's kind of a bummer, but again, it goes until the 21st. If you want to help us out and you can help us out, please do so. You know, we're also working on trying to get a Kickstarter thing going. One of our listeners is helping us get that going with his account, because you got to have those bank account stuff for Amazon. But the problem with that is that that's an all or nothing thing, meaning, you know, what if you can set, you know, a $5,000 goal or whatever, but if you get, you know, $4,992 and it ends, you don't get any of it. That just, it's all for naught, and everybody gets their money back, or their money doesn't come out of their account or whatever have you. And that's it. So it's an all or nothing thing with Kickstarter. And I think that kind of sucks in a way, because it's like, you know, because they tell you to put the minimum amount or whatever, but it's like, you know, if you work and you work and you work, and I had also had some artist friends who had all posted stuff on Facebook with their voicing their disdain for the Kickstarter thing, and I didn't realize that was the way it was, you know, and that sucks for an artist or somebody who is, or anybody in particular, you know, to work and promote your Kickstarter thing and to get that close. And then, you know, if you don't make it all the way and it doesn't get funded all the way, you don't get any money at all. I think that's kind of a bunk way of doing things. I don't know who thought of that or why that's, you know what I mean? Because you would think, I mean, if somebody's really trying to fund a project, you know, just getting close to it or close to that goal would be, you know, that would be really good. You know, then you'd be like, okay, well, you know, I'm this close, so then all I have to do is find this much. No, that's not how it works. And I don't know. To me, I think that's kind of a messed up way of doing it. But yeah, again, I just it blows my mind because I've never had as much interest in any project I've ever done, but I've also never had as much as little financial support for a project that I've ever done. And boy, it really sucks. It really does suck because I mean I'm sitting on a mountain of info over here, and I'm just at a work standstill because I can't, I'm missing so much of stuff that I need cash for to go out into the field to shoot footage of to complete the film. And without being able to do that, I can't complete the film. I don't know if people understand that. I mean, if it was just as easy as I can finish the film right now and have certain stuff left out and blah, 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 I would do that. It wouldn't be a problem. But you got to understand, I can't do that because there are crucial things I have to go out in the field and shoot footage of that, we don't have the financial support to do. So, we're going to have incentives and stuff on the Kickstarter thing, but, I don't even know if that's even going to, I mean, we're just trying that to see. It may not even happen. We're just, the main thing we're trying to do is to maybe see if is to have something that will get the attention of people who are outside of the circle of people who listen to this radio show and this type of stuff. You know what I mean? And maybe we'll have some success there. Because I saw some of these other projects that got funded, they've gotten funding from there, and I'm just like, really? People will fund that? I mean, just crap. Just stuff that looked like total, utter crap. And they're like, $10,000, $50,000 funded, blah, blah, whatever. And you're just like, really? I mean, you're going to give somebody fucking $20,000 to talk about their balls for 2 hours? I mean, that's just ridiculous. But anyway, up there at the website, you'll find the chipping banner, the emergency chipping banner for that. If you want to see this project go forward like I do, then we need to meet that goal by this week, before it ends on the 21st. So please act accordingly, help us out. I know there's people out there who haven't come forward and helped us out one iota on this film, but I know they can for a fact. And if you can help us out there and you haven't helped us out in a while, then please do so. So I can continue to get to work here, because this is game-changing stuff, man. It's unbelievable the stuff that I found pertaining to, exactly who this was that was in the United States or in the Americas, long before we're told who was officially here. Let's see here if we have any emails tonight. I don't think we do. But I want to check. Yeah, I don't really see anything here. All right, well, let's just jump into the news then here tonight. We'll start at the top. Oh, man, we got a couple here tonight that fall under the complete disinformation and horseshit category. There's just no other word for it. The horseshit category. So here's the first one. And I'm going to drop links so you guys can see these, because this is just, you have to revel in the horse shit as I read it. So here's the first one. The transatlantic jet trails visible from space. How contrails can stay in the sky for up to 14 hours. I love this. Because, up until, I don't know, the past decade or 15 years or so, contrails were always those things that just, they were there and they were gone. So by virtue of a real contrail, a contrail should not be visible for an entire transatlantic flight from one point A to point B. It just shouldn't be that way. So now, I love this. I haven't read this yet, so I'll read it here with you and probably have my disgust right along with you. I just can't wait to hear this. So now they're going to attempt to explain to us, ladies and gentlemen, why contrails from jet vapor stick around and stay in the sky for up to 14 hours, even though in the past they didn't used to do that. Oh, I'm all ears. I'm waiting with bated breath here. Like a giant game of crosses without the knots, these incredible jet engine trails can be seen crisscrossing in the sky, crisscrossing the Atlantic from space. NASA's Terra satellite, did I not tell you when they launched that thing it was going to be to monitor contrails, or chemtrails, rather? I was right. NASA's Terra satellite captured these two amazing images of aircraft trails, or contrails as they are known, spreading across the sky off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. The spectacular effect forms in the wake of a passing aircraft due to the extra particles and water vapor contained in their exhaust. NASA said it has observed that that's just bad grammar. NASA said it has observed these clusters. Should be that. I can't believe the amount of stuff that gets put out in the news every day. It's not even edited or proofread at all. NASA said that it has observed these clusters of contrails lasting as long as 14 hours, although most get a shorter lifespan of 4 to 6 hours. Well, it used to be they didn't stick around at all. That was how you could always see what a contrail was. It was there and it was gone. So now they're trying to change the entire narrative of what a contrail is now that people are quite aware of these chemtrail activities that are going on. These photographs taken over 2 hours on May 26 captured contrails that were likely caused by commercial aircraft flying west to North America from the UK and Europe. The contrails are arrayed in X-shaped patterns, and a cirrus cloud is visible to the north and both. Oh yeah, the X patterns. Oh, they don't do any. They don't do any of that for the X-band, appropriately titled X-band radar system located in right near Harp. Nah. All those documents and all that stuff that you can read in patent documents, those are all liars. Yeah. I mean, because you can go and read X-band radar stuff all day. They actually can pinpoint. That's what they use the X's for, because they can pinpoint and target a specific place from space using those X. X marks the spot. The airplane signatures with distinct edges are visible in the first older images, but 2 hours later have grown wispier and spread outward as winds have blown them south to east. Oh, yes, these are all just normal airplane contrails, which, again, never stuck around more than a few seconds, not even a few minutes. But all of a sudden, they've changed, and so they want to show us how, now all of a sudden, contrails stick around for hours now. And they turn into cirrus clouds after they're done spreading. Right. And you can clearly see, if you scroll down about to the bottom of the page, the last picture there, they show Newfoundland, they show the cirrus cloud, and it says aged spreading contrails. You can look at that. Anybody with half a brain can look at that and tell that that is exactly what chemtrails do. They spread out once they're laid, and then they spread out and go bigger and bigger. Then they form together to form big cloud cover. But when air is humid, as was the case here, contrails can be long-lived and spread outward until they become difficult to distinguish from naturally occurring cirrus clouds. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I love how this is new phenomenon they have to now explain to us. I mean, we've had airplanes up for a long time, folks. But all of a sudden they have to explain this to us like it's some new phenomenon, because it is a new phenomenon, because these are not normal jet contrails. They don't stick around that long. It's a fact. You can ask any pilot, they will tell you that. Contrails don't stick around for more than a couple of seconds. And listen to the terminology they use right there. Contrails can be long-lived and spread outward until they become difficult to distinguish from naturally occurring cirrus clouds. Right. That's the whole point of the chemtrails, is to create these clouds so they blend in, and eventually you don't even think that there were chemtrails. You just go out there and see the clouds all jumbled together. Climate scientists are fascinated by long-lived spreading contrails because they reflect sunlight and trap infrared radiation. Oh, my God! How retarded do they think we are? You can go and read documents on aerosol spraying, patent documents on aerosol spraying, government documents from the Department of Energy about spraying chaff and sulfur hexafluoride and all this stuff into the atmosphere. And that's exactly what they're intended to do. I mean, the government, how many things that we heard about in the past couple of years? The Obama administration discusses geoengineering the climate to protect us from global warming. And what do they say in every one of those articles about geoengineering? That they hope to reflect the sunlight, and that's what's happened when they trap the infrared radiation that traps it down at the ground level, and that's what gives you the appearance of this warming. I mean, this is absolute disinformation, bold-faced, lying horseshit that is pandering to people who are too goddamn stupid to pull their head out of their ass. I mean, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. There's no excuse in 2012 for you to be ignorant. The only ignorance that there is in this world anymore is willful, self-imposed ignorance, because if you wanted to have your mind freed and you wanted to be free, you would do it. You don't need somebody to come along and unplug you from the matrix. It's a willful choice at this point. Everybody out there, unless you absolutely, literally have been living inside of a cave in a cage, cut off from all of humanity, everybody at some point has had some kind of this information presented to them. And it boils down to a choice. And I believe that most of the ignorance in our day and age is willful. And you can talk all day about, oh, well, you don't have a chance because the programming and all that stuff. You know what? That's true, and I think that was applicable 5, 6, 7 years ago. But not anymore, man. There's no excuse anymore for people to not be informed because people have plenty of opportunities now. You know, it used to be that before computers were as affordable as they are now, before the advent and the rise of smartphones and tablet computers and everything else, computers were not as as available. So there was a huge gap between people who were able to get their hands on information and people who weren't. That gap is slowly becoming very small and even smaller. Because now almost everybody has at least one computer in their house, if not more. Almost everybody has a smartphone, minimum. Some people have a smartphone and a tablet and a PC, and a video game system. My point is that, especially with the stuff with chemtrails and contrails and all this stuff, for them to sit here and rehash things that they have told us in mainstream news about, the Obama administration, geoengineering the climate and all this stuff, for them to use the exact same solutions in this story to allegedly sell us on why contrails are real and why contrails are causing all these clowns, it's unbelievable. Because they just don't expect that most people are going to read the article about geoengineering and all this stuff, but also read the story about these contrails. And when there are people out there like you and I who do that and find these people in these contradictory lies, they don't even act like we even matter, like our voices even matter at all. You have been caught in a lie 18 ways to Sunday. You guys can't even fucking... it tells you how much faith they have in an article like this. They didn't bother to have the editor go through it, make sure there weren't grammar problems. They never do. If you're going to spread this info, at least get the grammar right, please. Current estimates indicate that contrails have a small warming effect, but the extent of the additional coverage and the amount of warming remain quite uncertain. So, this is just a blatant piece of disinformation, blatant lies. And I've actually got another one here that goes right along with that. And that one didn't blow your hair back. This one certainly will. But these are two peas in a pod as far as their intent and what they're trying to do. Again, information upon information on contrails, chemtrails, the difference, what they are, abundant. Same thing with fracking. And these earthquakes and everything else, the evidence is there. But, again, they pander to the lowest common denominator. And that's what I found is that's who they are trying to get their bullshit disinformation across to. They really are. They have, the media has completely given up trying to make any attempts to hide their bullshit from people like you and I who are savvy to this stuff and who have their nose to the grindstone in this stuff 24/7 and know what to look for when it comes to their cognitive dissonance and the stuff that they try to confuse people with, the baffle you with bullshit stuff. And that's exactly who they're pandering to with this stuff anymore. They don't even try to really hide what they're doing anymore from people in the know. They just straight up lie and say their stuff. And they're like, look, the only people paying attention to this stuff from, some AP, Associated Press news story that was on Yahoo News. It's only fucking, who uses Yahoo anyway, right? I do, but, you know what I mean? It's like, who uses that anyway? And those people are idiots, so we'll give them some disinformation. But again, this comes to us from the Associated Press. Report says, don't worry much about quakes and fracking. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah. Your tap water gets set on fire, becomes undrinkable. There's massive amounts of earthquakes around your area where there's never been any tectonic activity ever whatsoever at all. But don't worry too much about quakes and fracking. That right there tells me you need to worry a lot. The controversial practice of hydraulic fracturing to extract natural gas does not pose a high risk for triggering earthquakes large enough to feel right. So the data that says that it does, and the experiences that people have had, and the stories that have been in all kinds of news that I've covered ad nauseum here on this show, all that is just bullshit. So you mean to tell me that when a hydraulic fracturing company comes into town and starts doing this stuff, and earthquakes like in Oklahoma start going through the roof in areas where they're normally not geologically active, all of a sudden that's coincidence, right? So the fact, and that's what they say. They literally say that the fact that these earthquakes have happened in the area where there have been new fracking things going on is merely a coincidence. The controversial practice of hydraulic fracturing to extract natural gas does not pose a high risk for triggering earthquakes large enough to feel, but other types of energy-related drilling can make the ground noticeably shake, a major government science report concludes. Well, again, whatever they say, you just take the opposite of that. They tell you not to worry, you need to worry. If they tell you to shit yourself in fear and head for the hills, I wouldn't panic too much. It's and you need to keep that as seriously. If they, when they tell you need to panic, you need to calm the fuck down. No shit. That's what you need to go by. If the government tells you gets on the TV and tells you to freak out, you need to calm the fuck down. If they get on there and tell you to calm the fuck down, you need to freak the fuck out. Just take the opposite of whatever they say. And this is no different. Even those man-made tremors large enough to be an issue are very rare, says a special report by the National Research Council. Yeah, that's where I go for the truth. I don't know about you, the National Research Council. Yeah, and a real history of truth over there, don't they? Like the National Science Foundation. That's where I go when I want science, the National Science Foundation. Yeah, they're for the truth. You know how many black operations, skunk work projects the National Science Foundation has been involved in up to and including 9/11, who they ran the simulations. They ran simulations for prior to 9/11 for what the events would be, the possible crash. Yeah. In more than 90 years of monitoring human activity has been shown to trigger only 154 quakes, most of them moderate or small, and only about 60 of them in the United States. That's compared to a global average of about 14,450 earthquakes of a magnitude 4.0 greater every year, said the report released on Friday. Most of those are caused by gas and oil drilling the conventional way, damming rivers, deep injections of wastewater, and purposeful flooding. Only 2 worldwide instances of shaking, a magnitude 2.8 tremor in Oklahoma and a 2.3 magnitude shaking in England, can be attributed to hydraulic fracturing. So you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Only 2 earthquakes ever in the world can be attributed to hydraulic fracturing. Boy, I mean, I would love, wouldn't you love? I mean, anybody would love to have the massive PR campaign that has been done to try and convince us that hydraulic fracturing is safe. Boy, I would love to have that kind of marketing machine behind my work. Wow. That'd be unbelievable. We'd be fucking taking shit over overnight. They have gone out of their way, haven't they? More than I've seen in almost anything else to convince us that this stuff is okay and it's not causing problems and it's not setting people's tap water on fire and it's not making people die of cancer or anything. And the reason why they're doing this is because the natural gas is not going to the United States. If you look, you should go look at the numbers on how much of this natural gas they're pulling out. And it's not going to us. That's the whole thing. This stuff is going to China, baby. Straight to China. And it's almost as if we're not even getting any money for it. Like we're almost giving it to them because they own our asses now. It's just an unbelievable thing to be. Oh, yeah, don't worry about quakes and fracking. They don't go together. No. You're crazy. We've only had 2 earthquakes ever happen from fracking. Right, only 2, right? Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'll sleep better tonight knowing that, won't you? I can just smell those. Careful there. Yeah, watch your step. Yeah, there's a big pile of horse shit right there. You might step in it if you're not careful. Be careful. We're just thick in it. You know, we've known for quite some time, especially since the beginning of the first term of the Obama presidency, that he had this lineage, especially from his mother's side, the bloodline lineage that ties him into these same ruling bloodlines. I mean, he's relatives of other past presidents. And although Michelle Obama has been widely known for quite some time that she's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, she's absolutely Barack Obama's handler. But very interesting stuff here. There hasn't been much up to this point that has been known about Michelle Obama's heritage. People have often asked me, is Michelle Obama, is she a bloodline? Is she one of these? And I've had to say, well, I don't really know for sure. I haven't been able to find any information that pertains to that. But, I mean, I definitely tell you she's definitely of some importance and has of some power because she's a high-ranking member of the Council on Foreign Relations. And, that I know of, I don't think we've ever had, at least not that I found. If I'm wrong about this, please correct me. I'd like to see some of the other examples. But as far as I know, and as far as I've been able to find, I've never been able to find another first lady that's been a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. To me, that's always been a big thing that stuck out as being, she's kind of the go-between for somebody. But luckily here, some researchers now have apparently dug in and actually done DNA evidence. DNA evidence on the lineage and history of Michelle Obama, and their findings are quite interesting. Revealed Michelle Obama's white distant cousins. Yeah, you heard it right. White distant cousins. And how the First Lady's great-great-grandmother had a relationship with a slave owner's son. 2 silver-haired white women in Georgia are the distant cousins of Michelle Obama, an African-American whose descendants were black slaves. A new book reveals that the First Lady's great-great-grandfather was born to a slave on a small Georgia plantation and her master's white son. Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting. The tale of Mrs. Obama's long-lost relatives, which neither family have ever talked about, shows that racial identity is even more complicated than most Americans realize. Barack Obama is also mixed race, the son of a black Kenyan father and a white mother from Kansas. Well, look, the fact of the matter is, yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that if I was black, I would have a real problem with, people. I mean, come on. They sold people on this guy because of his race and his color. They had a slick, multi-million-dollar, high-level PR campaign to get this guy in the White House. Ironically enough, the White House. It's, people are like, oh, it ain't going to be the White House anymore after them blacks get up in there. They're going to have to scrub the stink out of there when the blacks get. Well, you don't have to worry about that, you racist piece of shit, because, again, I don't know. If I was black, I'd be really fucking pissed. I'd feel like I got lied to and sold some fucking crusty crackers once again as leaders. Come on, dude. We have the proof. Same ways to Sunday now. Barack Obama and Michelle Obama both come from white lineages and white bloodlines. And the fact that they've been, mixed breed and appear to be darker, dude, there's no telling how long they've been planning this. Because they're perfect. They are perfect to put people to sleep on real issues. And if they drop the marijuana legalization thing in October, which I predicted would happen on the night of the election in 2008, I said, you watch. He's going to come in. He's going to fuck shit up old school. And right when everybody's ready to have his head on a platter before the next election, boom, full blanket marijuana legalization, and everybody will forget everything that motherfucker has done. New York Times journalist Rachel L. Swarms used DNA testing and historical documents to track down Mrs. Obama's living white family members for her new book, American Tapestry, the story of black, white, and multiracial ancestors of Michelle Obama. Joanne Tribble, 69, was found to be one of those distant cousins. Her ancestor, Henry Wells Shields, owned Mrs. Obama's great-great-great-grandmother, Melvina. Charles Marion Shields, Henry's son, fathered a child with Melvina in 1860, Dolphus T. Shields, according to DNA results. Dolphus, Mrs. Obama's great-great-grandfather on her mother's side, was long rumored to be half white. He had a light skin and Irish-looking features. However, the family never talked about who his father was. It was previously unknown that he was the son of a slave or slave owner. So, see, this is the kind of stuff that they wanted to keep hid. And now that they brought this out, yeah, it's going to make big problems. Again, look, I don't give a damn what color you are. My point about all this stuff is they sold people on this guy because of the color thing. And I'm sorry. I think that of all the things that people get angry about, mad and upset about, this should be one of them. I mean, it would be warranted here. You got sold another lie with this guy. If you voted for this guy on the basis of his skin color, which was idiotic to begin with, but, letting that go and moving on past that, okay, you voted for him because he was black and blah, blah, and a lot of people did. A lot of people did, admittedly. Even Samuel L. Jackson admitted that. The only reason he voted for him because he was black. So if that's the only reason you voted for him because he was black, and you look at his lineage, which is undeniably means you've got Jewish, white, Ashkenazi. I mean, he's bloodline as they go. Look, Michelle Obama, boom, now they've got kids. So they brought two ends of the bloodlines in together and have now produced offspring that are both of those. I mean, there is much in line with the British royals as anybody is. I don't know, man. I'd have a serious problem with this if I had voted for this guy if I was black and I voted for this guy because he was black and I found out about this lineage stuff. I'd be pretty pissed about that. But again, they're not going to let a real black person get up there and be president any more than they're going to let a real white person get up there. People fall into this thing where they think that that all white people are the same. That me and whoever else, other white people, are the same as George Bush and Mitt Romney and the rest of these clowns. It's just not the case. Any more than all black people are the same. I've never met a black person in my life that acts the way our fucking president does, or his wife does. I've never met black folks in my life that acted like that, ever. They act as uppity and as fucking crackerish as anybody. But hopefully this will get some people, to at least start questioning the legitimacy of what they're being sold before it's too late. it's been talked about for some time that, and I've seen this pattern, I see it more and more. For years they've built up the religious establishments, and now it seems that they are doing everything they can on all fronts to collapse these establishments. And, of course, there is the long-rumored correspondence between Albert Pike and Giuseppe Mazzini. Albert Pike was the head of the Illuminati, and then Giuseppe Mazzini was the head of the Illuminati after him. And, these you've heard about these correspondences, I'm sure. They were at some naval college or museum in England for the longest time, where, they're talking about we're going to, we're going to have all these wars, these world wars, and we're going to pit Christians against atheists and get them to destroy each other, Essentially, we're going to, once we get people indoctrinated into these religions, then we'll start to tear down the fabric. I think you've seen that with the Catholic Church and the sex abuse stuff. Through the Christian stuff, you've seen it with of course, the scandals that go on there, and the televangelists, and the, preachers who've turned out to be homosexuals after preaching against that, and, just on and on and on, criminality. We've heard about abuses within Scientology. We've heard about abuses in, in almost every religion we've heard about. I mean, we had the child who died from the penis sucking that the rabbis do not too long ago. And it just seems to me, especially with like what was in Prometheus, and that movie was really nothing more than them trying to further sell us on the humans and aliens being of the same stock thing. Now, of course, I talk about that, and that's where my research takes me, and I've discussed that here on this show many times. But don't confuse those two things. Don't confuse the research into the origins of humanity and the possible genetic manipulation by these people. Don't confuse that and this end of it and what the research community does. Don't confuse that with ancient aliens and Prometheus and all this stuff where they try to convince you that, because it's two separate things. Because this is a way for them to try to reclaim and re-own this information, repackage it in a way where I believe they want to bring down the foundations of religion, and I believe they're going to try to use this genetic manipulation of humankind information to destroy the foundations of religion and science so they can bring in their one-world religious system. In a landmark ruling, a California jury has awarded a record $28 million in damages to a woman who had accused the Jehovah's Witnesses of allowing one of its adult members to molest her as a child. So, Watchtower Society, Jehovah's Witnesses, are going to pay $28 million now. And, of course, again, they trace the Jehovah's Witnesses, Charles Taze Russell, they trace back to the Levite tribes, the ancient one of the ancient tribes of Israel, the white priests. You ever see Jay-Z, the rapper, throwing up his vagina symbol? That's a Levite tribe symbol. He's given the props to the white priests of the Levites. Fool. Sucker. You didn't recognize that? You weren't keeping it real when he was throwing that up, were you? Didn't know that? God damn. They killed Tupac for calling him out on that. And he called him out on that in the Don Kill Illuminati record. He straight up says it in there. And then, he was killed 2 weeks after that. No, that's just a coincidence. Then they tell you all this, it was East Coast, West Coast war. No, bullshit. Bullshit. No, it was because he called those motherfuckers out for being who they were being with and throwing up the gang signs because he was a smart guy, And he put that in Tupac put that in his Don Kill Illuminati record. I can't remember the song. I'll have to find it. I've got it. I've got the record here. I'll have to find the song and play it here one night. But he said something there about blah, 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 and the white priest, and Jay-Z, you didn't think we'd notice, ha, 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 ha. Something, he just kind of offhand says it, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. When I heard that, I was like, wait, and I was like, wait a minute, let me go. And I was reading about how That was, of course, the last thing he ever recorded, and he was killed shortly after that. I went, man, that can't be a coincidence. Here he is calling out Jay-Z for, being with the white priest or whatever, and boom, next thing you know, he's off. It's going to be interesting to see what scandals start coming out surrounding the Mormon church as well. I'm sure we'll see something coming out soon. But I do think they're tearing down the foundations of religion after spending years and years of getting people indoctrinated in it so they can create chaos, as they always do, the Hegelian dialectic at work yet again. And in that ensuing chaos, come in with a new order, and this time a new religious order, I believe, based on a lot of this information and research on ancient aliens and stuff that I brought out for years. So I think that's why it makes this information and talking about this information more important now than it ever has, because we need to continue to document what's real and what's horseshit if and when they get ready to use this topic of ancient extraterrestrial genetic manipulation to further their own agenda of global supremacy. And I don't, I for years struggled and didn't really talk about a lot of that stuff. Over the past couple of years, I've talked about it more and more. But this is exactly why. Because as I was doing all my research and my work into the Secret Rite and the CMP and all this stuff, I started to see the patterns in the fact that you had people who were connected to the Jesuit order and whatnot, who were, involved in these Patriot radio shows and talk shows, and they were guests and whatnot, and they're involved in the military, Sovereign Military Order of Malta. And a lot of them would be saying stuff like, the extraterrestrial stuff and all that research is horse shit and blah, 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 blah. And then you find out that, I have the recording of it from Coast to Coast EM with Straight Out of the Gates where Eric von Daniken says, and I was trained by the Jesuits. I didn't mean to make him sound like Yoda there. I was trained by the Jesuits, I was. But, I go, well, wait a minute. Von Daniken was Jesuit trained. Pat Buchanan was Jesuit trained. If you ask Pat Buchanan about UFOs or the Anunnaki, he'd probably say, that's hogwash, and I don't believe it, blah, blah. But here's Jesuit trained Von Daniken. He ends up being the guy that brings out, in a controlled way, in a very controlled manner, leaving out lots of important bits of information, but nonetheless, he was the guy who put the ancient alien stuff on the map back in the 70s and 60s. His Chariot of the Gods and all that stuff. So once I saw that and saw that, wow, that's interesting, because you have one end of these guys who are sort of in the conspiracy truther genre, and they're saying that all that stuff is horseshit. But then over here on the other end, you have Von Daniken, and he's a Jesuit too. And, he's the main guy bringing out this stuff. So that's when I started to realize, after making Secret Rite Volume 2 and, finding out about Congressman Ralph Hall and his, the 2.5-ton garnet stone from the rock wall and all this stuff, and seeing these connections with the ancient alien stuff and seeing how there are members of the CMP guys in the right wing who are connected to the religious orders who seem to be covering up, but then other people who are for the extraterrestrial things who seem to be the purveyors of this information, but in most of the time they bring it out in a controlled and sometimes incorrect form as far as the information they're presenting. And so that's why I think that all the stuff that I've done as far as the readings here, I've had requests to do more, like the Zechariah Sitchin stuff and all that stuff that we've read here. I think that's why I've been very justified in going that route over the past year or so, because I have seen this pattern where it does appear that they are going to, and I think that's exactly why they've allowed a lot of the stuff they've allowed to be in Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. I think that's why there is that. I went to Walmart a couple of weeks ago and I found this, it was like some weird end cap thing. It was between the housewares and the children's clothes. And it was this double DVD pack, and it was $10. And it had like an alien head on it, and like some guy getting taken up in a mothership. It was like, $10, double set. But it turns out it had 22 hours, 22 hours of DVDs, like 10 DVDs for or 12. I don't remember how many. It's a ridiculous amount for like $10. And I thought, well, that's crazy. They're selling this in Walmart. It was just, I never go to Walmart, but I just happened to be in there getting something that I needed. And I was walking by and I saw that and I was like, well, shit, this might have some good reason. I looked at the back and it said what it had. It had like Ancient Aliens type stuff. So I was like, cool, this might have some clips or something in it I can pull out for the documentary or whatever. So I get it home and I bring it in, I pop it in, the first disc or the first set or whatever. And lo and behold, it comes up and it's like it's a Lloyd Pye presentation. Lloyd Pye is the guy who does the Star Child stuff. He did all the DNA evidence for the Star Child skull. Well, it's a Lloyd Pye presentation. I'm like, wait a minute, this is like some truther stuff. I'm like, they're selling, but it was like a grab bag thing. Each one of the discs had various different, content created by different people. It had stuff on there about Billy Meyer. It had stuff on there about crop circles. But it had like this 3-hour presentation by Lloyd Pye, and I was just like, this is in Walmart on like the discount rack? And because it didn't say Lloyd Pye or have his name on there or say anything about any of that information, it just said, Ancient Aliens. That's all it said. But it didn't have Ancient Aliens show, but then you pop it out and the disc is in there, and boom, here's this. It actually, the Lloyd Pye presentation actually had some legitimate research in it, showing the missing link between the Neanderthals and how they had to have been a separate race than the Neanderthals that were there, all this stuff. Very, very right-on-time information, but it made me go, oh, okay. See, I get this now. And I'd found Robotech at Walmart right before that, or the same time as that. Robotech is this 80s Japanimation cartoon. Back in the 80s, we used to call it Japanimation. There wasn't anime then. Back in my day, we didn't call it anime like you whippersnappers do. Yeah, we called it Japanimation back in my day. I feel like a fucking old codger now. But especially the Macross saga. It's the fucking greatest animation saga of all time. An alien ship crashes to Earth. They convince the people that it's crazy. I mean, there's so much truth in this cartoon. I remember watching it as a kid, and I mean, this alien ship crashes to Earth in 1999, right? And for 10 years, they tell the people it's an alien craft, but then they tell people also that there's no such thing as aliens. I mean, it so mirrors real life. Because that's what they would do, wouldn't it? I mean, you could have a fucking gigantic battleship size alien ship could crash on Earth, and we could spend 10 years, as they did in this cartoon, 1999 to 2009, back engineering all this alien technology, using it for military purposes, while simultaneously telling the people that aliens don't exist. And that's what they did in this cartoon. But turns out the aliens did exist because they attack Earth, and guess what else? That just happens to be that these aliens, these extraterrestrials, are giants. They call them the Zentradi. Very close to Anunnaki, Zentradi. And, yes, of course, they find out later in the series that, they're made of the same genetic stock as we are, but they don't know why. And there's this war that goes on between these Zentradis and the Earthlings, and they're using back-engineered alien technology, and, it just goes on and on and on. And there was so much real stuff in there, and it just dawned on me. I said, oh, my God, that's not a coincidence that here's this UFO thing, $10, and it's got real, actual factual stuff in it. It's being sold at Walmart. Here you've got Robotech. They've never sold Robotech at Walmart. Why now? We used to have to go to like specialty shops to even find that. Now it's at Walmart for $10. It used to come in a DVD case that had like 50 DVDs in it or something. I don't remember how many for the full Robotech. It was like $150 to get this set. I wanted it for so long I could never get it. And now the whole thing comes on 5 discs in a 1-box set at Walmart for $10. And why is it there at Walmart now? It's not a coincidence that both that cartoon Robotech and this stuff of, with Lloyd Pye and crop circles and aliens and all this stuff is being sold there because, again, they are trying to now use this information to further their agenda, to bring down current existing religious structures, to bring in a unified religious belief system across the board. And crazily enough, the Scientology thing, especially with Scientology being spawned from L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons, who started the OTO, or set up the OTO in Pasadena, California, same place he set up Jet Propulsion Laboratory at. They were both disciples of Crowley. So Scientology directly was influenced by the ancient mystery schools, the OTO, and the whole end of that, and the Crowley end. And with their whole stuff, their whole ancient aliens kind of backstory thing, and with the use of celebrities and stuff, it just fits the bill perfectly for, a possible one world religion scenario. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. Well, we're going to take a break, come back. We've been going for about an hour now. Right at an hour. So we'll take a break, come back. We'll finish up with a few more news stories here tonight. Not a lot left. And then we'll get into our series of reading for you here tonight. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. That's TheGlobalReality.com. There you'll find all things pertaining to my work. We'll take a break, come back, and get into more. This is The Global Reality. Stay with us. All right, back here with you on The Global Reality, right here on the Global Reality Radio Network. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Thanks for being with us here tonight, Moonbats. And if you're listening on an archive show or YouTube video or something like that later on, well, we thank you as well. And my website, again, where this broadcast originates from, is TheGlobalReality.com. It's TheGlobalReality.com. We don't have any outside sources of funding. We have no sponsors. We don't make you sit through commercials here. You don't come to my website and get blasted with ads, at least not yet. And that comes as a result as are the donations from you, the listening audience. That's what we rely on here to survive. And yet again, man, I mean, it's been, we're here we are now in the third week of the month. And our current operating cost chip in is at 22%, $335, $1,500. Not where I like to see us be. We should be at least more than halfway to our goal by now. We're only at $335. That's not good. But we also have the emergency film budget coming up, which ends on the 21st. And we really need some people to step up and help us here to be able to get this done. Because, look, I'm gonna lay it on the line for you here. And this is just in the absolute fact and the absolute truth. I'm starting to get noticed. I'm starting to get the attention of important people. TV show people who have money that want to invest in this stuff. But that all require, in order to get to those places and to get to that point, it requires me to be able to get out this volume 1 of this film and get it done first. I can't stress that enough. So if you would like to see this broadcast get to a place eventually, and it can, to where not only do you never have to sit through commercials, but you'll never have to sit through hearing me tell you to support our work, that we're going to go under if you don't support our work, because every single month that happens to us. And this is going to get eventually to a point where there are hits where we're not going to have to even have ads or have donations or anything. But I can't get there unless I get this volume 1 of this film out. Because people that do want to help us in a big way are not going to do that until this first film is done. So that's why I'm asking and just pleading with everyone out there, especially people who out there who I know have supported our work in the past, who haven't supported our work recently, and haven't supported this film recently, to help us now, right now, today, right this second, not 2 weeks from now, a month from now, but right now, this week, today, tomorrow, whatever, this week, to reach our goal for this emergency film budget so we can get this work out, so we can progress to the point where we can make this radio network and my work and everything else self-sustainable. Because I don't know if you know how many people who have told, I mean, I've had literally dozens of people already tell me, this rock wall stuff, this is going to put you on the map. This is going to be huge. So if you want this work and what I'm doing to get to the point where it can be done in a big way, and we'll never have to have, I mean, I don't think you understand that. Let me boil it down for you. If we can get this film done, if you, the listeners and people who support my work and love my work and want this information, can help this film get made, we are going to possibly be in a position to where we never have to have fundraisers for films ever again. This very well is going to be the last film that I'm even going to have donations for. If you guys can just pull together and help me get this done now. And that's the reason why this is so important to me. I mean, on top of how groundbreaking and mind-blowing the information is, it's important for that fact alone. But it's also important for a fact for me, for a place where I'm at in my work, to where we can really, really start getting some backing that we need to get, I don't want to do just one dig. I want to do multiple digs. We need multiple pieces of evidence for this rock wall thing. And we could get that done, and we could be there. But I just need all you Moonbats, all you people out there who've listened to my show for years. Everybody, please help us out. We also have our new thing for fundraisers as well. We're going to extend that this week only to the film budget thing. That's our Global Reality All-Star program that we started. If you didn't hear me talk about that Friday night, what that's going to be, it's a new thing we're going to be doing for weekly donators. Everybody who donates over $50 each week, $50 or more each week, is going to get their name put in a drawing. And by the way, I also want to put this out there. If you happen to be somebody that donates more than $50 twice in a week, one individual, let's say you donate $50 on Monday and you donate another $50 on Friday, you are going to get your name and is in the hat not once, but twice. So for every individual, I got to make that to me, that's fair. If somebody donates $50 on Friday or, and $50 on Monday, okay. You're going to get your name in the hat twice. And what is going to happen is at the end of the month, each week, on Friday, at the end of the week, each week, after we, do our final show of the week, I'll take everybody's names who's donated over $50 that week, and I'll give them credit and acknowledge them as being one of our Global Reality All-Stars. And I might eventually even get some certificates that'll have your name on it, and I'll send them in the mail to you, and you'll have a Global Reality All-Star certificate. And at the end of the month, all of our All-Star, Global Reality All-Stars will get their name put in a hat and drawn out, and you're going to get a one-of-a-kind, very special prize from me to you for you supporting us. And so this week, all the people who chip in $50 or more on the emergency film budget are going to get their name in the hat. And this week only, if you donate $50 or more towards the emergency film budget, this week only, starting right now, you are going to get $50 or more, a priority shipped DVD. That means yours will be the first to go out when the DVDs are here for The Lost Secrets of Ancient America Volume 1. You're going to get a autographed, priority shipped DVD for any donation, $50 or over, for the emergency chip and banner this week for the film. If you pledge $100 or more this week towards the emergency chip and banner, you are going to not only get the signed priority ship DVD, but you are also going to receive your name in the special thanks in the film's credits. Now, if you pledge $500 or more this week, you are going to get not only the signed DVD priority ship, you are also going to receive $500 or more, a co-producer credit in the film, and a special gift from me. If you pledge $2,000 or more to the emergency film chip-in banner, you are not only going to get the signed DVD, you are going to receive 2,000 for a pledge of 2,000 or more. You're going to receive the executive producer title in the film's credits, the signed DVD, and a special gift pack from me, Josh Reeves. So, 50 or more signed DVD when the film's out. 100 or more signed DVD, special thanks in the film. 500 or more signed DVD, co-producer credit. 2,000 or more executive producer credit, gift pack. You also get a small special gift with 500 or more as well. So those are the, and I believe that's what we're going to be doing on the Kickstarter thing, whenever that gets going for other people. But I'm doing that also for my listeners and my supporters as a different program. So what I'll do is, if you donate one of those amounts or more, when it comes through the PayPal or whatever, I'll send you an email back to you that will say, okay, this is what you'll be getting for that donation, everything else. So we've got some special bonuses that are going to be going on. These are going to be going on this week only in our final push to meet our goal. Like I said, folks, this is an opportunity. I've never needed your help more than I need the help now, because we are in a position now to where, we might be able to get some serious backing for my work, through either these, some of these TV show things that I'm getting offered, or maybe even from other, individuals out there that want to support our work and stuff too, that have showed some interest as of late. We're just in a real good position right now, and for me to be here almost like tiptoeing on the edge of not being able to even get this done when I'm sitting over here with a mountain of information and only, a small stretch left to go to have this film completely done. I really implore you to help us now more than I ever have with this. I mean, it's just, there's just never been anything. And I know you people out there who have supported me and helped me get this far don't want to see me fall before I get to the finish line now that we're in the home stretch. So there you go. Go back over and listen to this archive again if you didn't hear all of the special offers we're going to be offering. And also, again, any of those amounts over $50 as well that you donate, on top of the different packages that I just mentioned for donations that you're going to get for certain amounts, you will also get your name put in the All-Stars drawing for this month for the prize at the end of the month as well. So, I mean, if you donate $50 or more to this project this week, $50 minimum is going to get you the signed DVD with priority delivery and your name in the hat for the drawing of the month. That's not a bad deal right there for $50, if you ask me. You know what I mean? And you think about how many listeners we're out there. I know, think about $2,300, I think is what we have left or so on our chipping thing. Even though it's really, I need more than that. I need about $3 to $5,000 really to finish this thing properly. Look, there's not that. There's so many people out there who are listening on it. It shouldn't be hard to get this done. But you can go back and listen to the archive and go back through the offers and stuff again. TheGoalReality.com. That's where you do it at. Let me see what else we have here in the news. Jack Osborne, son of Ozzy Osbourne, has been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Boy, that's bad news. I remember a few years ago telling people that, because I was reading documentation from, people who were not just people like Ray Kurzweil and stuff like that, who were the sort of the mainstream out front proponents of the singularity and merging with machines, all this stuff. But I've actually read, like the people who are in the Singularity Society and what the people who are really deeply involved in this stuff have to say about it. And I remember going on air and telling people 2 or 3 years ago, Singularity was going to be here by 2015. And had other researchers and other radio hosts tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about, that I was wrong. And, I don't know about that, Josh. Oh, I mean, Ray Kurzweil doesn't think it's going to be here till 2035, 2040, 2050. You're saying 2015? That sounds a little early to me. Well, what is the singularity? By definition, by their definition, the point at which our modern computers not only meet but surpass the processing power of the human brain, right? Well, guess what, baby? Monday, June 18th, 2012. Here it is. I guess I was wrong about my 2015 prediction, but not wrong as being too early. Wrong in not being early enough. Here it is. Earth's supercomputing power surpasses the human brain 3 times over. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, not just meets it and surpasses it, but now meets it and surpasses it 3 times over. Unbelievable. I told you. That's all I can say. It's not like I have a crystal ball, man. I just know how to read and take the time to do it. That's all. The combined processing power of the world's most advanced computers has skyrocketed more than 66% since November. November. Literally, I got a new Mac, iMac last year, and it's got 16 gigs of RAM. My God. Really? Literally. It's 16 gigs of RAM. It's got a terabyte internal drive. It's got a fucking quad core, blah, 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 all this stuff. This thing costs like almost $2,000. And I saw the new MacBook Pros that they're coming out with. They're coming out right now. They're out now. And we're talking about a laptop, right? And this laptop that they've got out now will smoke and do things, especially for video editing stuff, that I can't even get close to doing right now with my iMac with all the RAM maxed out and everything else. And that was about, I guess, October when I got that thing. October, November, something like that. So here we are. Yeah, October. 66% combined processing power of the world's most advanced computers has skyrocketed more than 66% since November, according to a study of supercomputers released this month. The singularity is here, my friends. The study found that the U.S. is home to the world's most powerful computer once again, thanks to a new IBM machine called Sequoia, which earned the top rating on the twice annual Top 500 list of the world's most powerful supercomputers, combined by the University of Mannheim in Germany. Second place went to Japan's K computer, created by Fujitsu. Installed at the U.S. Department of Energy's Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California, Sequoia will be used to simulate conditions related to nuclear weapon decay, enabling scientists to plan out ways of keeping the nation's aging weapons from degrading too far. Right. That's all they're using it for. They're just trying to figure out how to keep our nuclear weapons from getting too old too fast. That's all it is. Right. Give me a fucking break. Again, pandering to the lowest common denominator, pandering to the idiots. It's all it is, pandering to the uninformed and the intentionally, or rather not intentional, but the willfully ignorant. Well, honey, that's what they use them supercomputers for. I heard that on the news, read it in the news story. They just using them to figure out how to keep their nuclear weapons from getting so old and getting too degrading old too fast. Right. Come on, really? Folks, I'm sorry. But you don't have to be a computer engineer or a rocket scientist or any sort of heavyweight thinker to know, or even know anything about computers. Look, I know a lot about computers. There are people out there who wipe the floor with me as far as what I could do. But I mean, that's what I used to do. I worked for a software company. I worked for Intuit, the company that makes TurboTax. Prior to 9/11, I worked for them for a couple of years. I was making good money. Thought everything was good, and boom, 9/11 happens. They shipped my job off to India. I was just lost, And that's when I got really heavy into researching and saying, I knew about this stuff before that, long before that, for years. But, that was the catalyst for me when I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm going to start trying to figure out how to do something about this. And that was 2001. Here we are 11 years later. And I was starting to make some waves. But folks, if you think that they need the world's most powerful supercomputer only just to help them figure out ways of keeping their nuclear weapons from degrading too far, give me a break, folks. My fucking iPad could run an app that could do that for you here in about 2 seconds. I mean, it's unbelievable just what you can do on the graphics and stuff on these iPads. It's insane. These things have this. If you look at the hardware that's like in an Xbox 360 or something like that, you look at the RAM and the processing power, and you look at what's in the iPad, you'll freak out. And you look at some of the graphics that are on some of the games; it's unbelievable. But you don't have to have a supercomputer for that. I'm sorry, that's horseshit. They are using these supercomputers to run algorithms for more than anything to process the large amounts of data and data information that are coming in from all of their sources. And when you think about what all those sources are now in this day and age, it could be everything from internet traffic to cameras on ATMs. How many ATMs do you think there are in not only worldwide, but in the United States alone? God damn, hundreds of millions, right? Well, each one of those goes into a computer system that goes into something somewhere, right? So, my God, street corner cameras, all the data mining stuff from television ads, content-specific advertising, on and on and on and on. And so they have initiated such a data stream from the amount of stuff that they're funneling through now, and all of this has an importance to them. It has an importance to them to figure out how to, what are the next new products they're going to start marketing, on and on. And you'd be surprised to learn, folks, that how much of these supercomputers are actually running algorithms that are crunching numbers on humans, on us, and human activity and stuff like that, more than they are on, trying to unlock the secrets of the universe. I mean, Walmart, of all people, Walmart actually has a supercomputer that will smoke anything that the Department of Defense, and we talked about that story last week, Department of Defense using Apple's Pixar stuff, for satellite imagery and stuff like that. Walmart has a supercomputer system that is used regularly and rented out and leased regularly by the Department of Defense, the NRO, other government organizations, because it's so powerful and has so many AI aspects to it. I mean, that's why they never have to do a human inventory at any Walmart store anywhere. They're all hooked into this computer system, and anytime anything gets sold, the computer system prints a manifest automatically, and they know what they need to put in a truck and ship out to another store. That's how it works. And so, while it's easy to say, the singularities here, and oh my God, people are going to start merging with machines quickly because now our supercomputing power has surpassed the human brain. Honestly, I agree that that's definitely coming, definitely sooner than later. But I also know that more often than not, folks, it's just a bare bones fact of it. They're not using this stuff for what you would call exciting discoveries, or they're using it to, like this, how to keep our aging weapons from degrading too far, right? All the technological mastery that you can cook up and all the technological advances you can get, and what's it do? It goes to securing what's already there, which, as far as I'm concerned, can be put under the guise of continuing their supremacy, right? That's what it's about. That's what all of this stuff is about. That's what this technology we are squandering the technology that we have created. And instead of advancing ourselves with this technology and bettering ourselves and making our living conditions better for everyone worldwide, we are now using this stuff to keep, the ship from sinking faster, delaying the inevitable longer. That's all they want to do. And keeping tabs on people and figuring out how to market. You would not believe. That's one thing that Alex Jones never bothers to tell his audience when it comes to the ranting and raving that he does as far as, folks, they got cameras and microphones in all your computers, folks. They're spying on you everywhere you go, folks. Whack, 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 whack. They want to know what you're doing, folks. They're keeping an eye on you. They're watching your house, folks. They want to see if you're smoking marijuana in your house, and they're going to send over Darth Vader ski mask cops come in, kick down your door, rape your wife, rape your dog, fuck your kids, and there ain't nothing I can be able to do about it. Scum! Ah! That's, he doesn't tell you that yes, I mean, he's actually right. They are using the cameras and the microphones, but they're using it for content-specific advertising. They're using it to figure out new and more inventive ways to sell you shit. And he's not lying when it comes to that, because I've seen it multiple times. I mean, spooky shit. So, I mean, like one day I got out of bed and I was like, oh, my back's hurting. I got to get a new bed. And I go, and the first thing I see when I get on my computer after I get up is every page on Facebook and all this stuff is mattresses, like mattress ads, you know? Or, oh, I really need to go get my cat some food today. My cat's almost out of food. Boom! Cat food ads everywhere. I mean, literally. That's what they're using that stuff for, folks. I know we like to think they're using all this stuff for, interesting purposes that are beyond what we are allowed to know, but for the most part, they're just using this shit to continue the system of keeping us all enslaved. And technology, just like knowledge or anything else, is a double-edged sword. It can be used to empower and embolden and enlighten, and it can be used to advance a species. It can also be used to destroy a species. And the way we're heading, I mean, we're just not heading in the right way with this technology, because, I mean, every year it advances and it gets more and more advanced, but the quality of life of human beings does not increase substantially with that. I mean, people don't make more money. Remember when they told us, oh, yeah, we get to the computer age, you'll have the 15-hour work week, blah, blah, blah. We'll all be working part of the week, and the computers will do the rest for us the rest of the time. Could it have gone that way? Absolutely, it could have gone that way, but that's not the way they allowed it to go. But it's a fact. I mean, just look just take a microcosm of the past 10 years and look at how the technology has advanced in the last 10 years, and think about how I mean, my goodness, folks, I can remember in 2005 maybe, or something like that, 2005, getting my first 64-bit chip. Got one of the first gen AMD 64s when they came out in 2005. We're talking 7 years ago. Smoking machine, man. 64-bit processor, what? Like 2 gigs of RAM. What, you got 2 gigs of... I mean, we're not talking about 20 years ago or here in the 80s. We're talking about 7 years ago, 2005. And now, 7 years later, your phone smokes that. You know what I'm saying? Your smartphone smokes that computer that was top of the line 7 years ago. But has our quality of life increased in that time? Has our standard of living increased? Has your paycheck increased? Have any of those things gotten better for you as a result of this technology? No. And that's why I rely so much on technology, because for me, it's the only thing morally sound that I can even see to do with this stuff. At least I go to bed every night knowing that I've used this technology that's at my disposal to at least try to get some information out there to people, at least try to do something positive with it. But we've allowed ourselves to become more enslaved to the technology, more chained to the technology. And instead of it working for us and benefiting our lives, we're actually working for it. just to keep it going. Think about it. You have to work a paycheck to pay for your internet access, right? You have to work for a paycheck to keep your electricity going, right? You have to work for a paycheck to keep your phone bill and your data plan going every month, right? So you're actually a slave. All of us are, me included. I'm not excluding myself from that. I have to pay an electric bill and an internet bill every month. So we're actually working now to keep our machines alive instead of our machines working to keep us alive. It's insanity. How did we get here? I want out. And that's what bothers me the most about this, man. I mean, it's great. I'm as excited as you are that the technology is getting better and, more stuff. It's getting cheaper and smaller and better and all. I mean, I'm excited about it too, but my God, is our quality of life getting better? No. Are we getting smarter for this technology? Some of us are. Some of us most certainly are. A lot of you out there, a lot of people out there, but even that don't listen to this show or don't know me from Adam or anything else, are getting smarter because they're using this technology to research and read and get information and everything else. But that's not the majority of people aren't doing that. No, people are getting dumber because of autocorrect and auto spell check and all this stuff. So I think that most certainly the case can be made that this technology has not improved our lives. I mean, it has improved it in some ways, but my goodness, what are we giving up in exchange? And what are we going to continue to give up? And where is it going to go? Because there is no question that we as a species have not utilized this technology in a way that could advance the species in a positive way. We could do that, but I mean, my God, look at Bill Gates. Look at that guy. You get the opinion that guy's using technology to do anything positive in the world? No. What's he using technology for? To figure out more ways to kill and enslave it. But I mean, like I said, I love the technology and I love the stuff as much as you. But I'd smash it all with a hammer right now if it meant that we could advance our species farther than we could with it. Wouldn't you? I would. I'd pack it all in and smash it all with a hammer now if that was the case, but it's not. And so we have to use this technology that is being created to enslave us and destroy us and to further dumb us down to shove it right back up their fucking asses, y'all. Help me. Help me do that. That's what I'm asking you for here with these films and you support my radio network and all this. We don't have a choice. This technology is going to be used as, again, it's the double-edged sword. It can be used to enslave us or empower us. But it's going to be up to us what we're going to choose that fate to be. And the way that they're pushing, it's just entertainment and distraction and further into a separation from the real world and what really goes on and living in these fake universes and, MMORPGs and all this stuff. Well, the time is now. We have to make a stand now. And start using this technology while we have the chance to tell people that, yeah, it's great, and your iPad's great, and I love it, and, oh, it's fantastic, and, yeah, you can, I love being able to be out and about now, because everybody's got Wi-Fi everywhere. A lot of places have Wi-Fi. Shit, almost every McDonald's has Wi-Fi. Now, if you're ever in a pinch, you need Wi-Fi immediately to look something up or something, just drive to a fucking McDonald's and park right in front of it. Starbucks, too, a lot of them. Some of them have closed. But you can go at almost any McDonald's now and they have free Wi-Fi. There's a McDonald's fuck everywhere, right? So my point is, I love being out and about, being able to grab my iPad and go, and when I'm telling somebody about something, if there's Wi-Fi, I like to be able to grab and go, oh, hey, well, look, I'm telling you about it. Let me show you, and I can pull it up and I can show them, my 4-minute, here's what I'm working on. Here's a 4-minute preview to my new film. Check it out. Where in the past you had to be like, oh, well, yeah, I made this video, I made this trailer. Oh, it's on the internet. Yeah, it's on the internet. Do you have a computer? No, I don't own a computer. And then you're like, okay, well, here's you used to be, you'd be in a situation where you meet somebody who you could use your info, your knowledge, but it's, it's on the computer, and you can't take the computer with you unless you have a laptop. And if there's not, hardwired internet there, well, it doesn't do you any good either, blah, blah, blah. See, now that's all changed. And one of the things back when I was doing 9/11 stuff around 2006, somewhere around there, one of the things that we used to do was we used to take a portable DVD player to places, and we'd go up to people and say, hey, are you aware of World Trade Center Building 7? Or actually, we'd say, hey, you know how many buildings fell in 9/11? They always say 2. No, actually, there were 3. And they'd go, oh, no, there weren't 3. Yeah, there was 3 here. We have the video right here of World Trade Center Building number 7. It's right here. We have it on DVD and a little portable DVD player. We can show you the building collapse. So would you like to see it? And they were like, yes. And then we'd show it to them. They'd be like, oh, my God, I didn't know that. We'd be like, well, here, take this DVD and watch it. Very, very effective. Very effective way to get people interested in information was having that little DVD player there. And when they don't know what World Trade Center Building 7 was, to go, well, look, I can show you here. Look, watch it collapse, less than 6 seconds. Here you go. Boom. And they go, oh, my God, I didn't hear about that. I didn't know about that. Well, here, take a DVD and get informed. And now it's to the point where, you can do that with an iPad. You could do that. I mean, there's just so many ways. You could get yourself an iPad and have videos loaded on it and go out and get yourself some DVDs loaded up in a bag. And you could go out and ask people questions like that, or say, hey, you ever heard of, you ever heard of this? You ever heard of that? Well, here, let me show you. Do you know what chemtrails are? Well, look, let me show you a video of a chemtrail. I mean, the battery life lasts like 8-10 hours on these things. You could actually go up. And that's what I'm saying. There's so many things now that we didn't have just a few years ago that we could be using to get the information out there to people, but we're not. Instead of outwardly using this technology to outwardly reach more people, which is what I'm trying to do, the rest of the world is going back inside of themselves and further into these artificial constructs and artificial worlds of this information that further takes them away from other humans and other people and transplants them into this artificial construct where they would rather exist. I don't know about you, but motherfucker, that's the Matrix right there. And unfortunately, Keanu Reeves is nowhere to be found. You got to deal with Josh Reeves instead. I'm not nearly as good looking. Anyway, I could go on and on about this all night because it's just something I'm just constantly going over in my head, man, is that we, all of us, myself included, I'm not saying I'm not doing anything, but we have really seriously got to start figuring out ways to use this technology to further all of our causes and to further what we're doing. Because right now we're just becoming more enslaved to it, folks. And as I said here with this article, the singularity's here now. It's here. It's not coming. It's here. All right. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I went on a rant. The computer stuff just gets me on a rant. This one I got to cover, though. This is interesting. Shocking study reveals brain scan results look different if they are viewed on a Mac or a PC. Now, this is something I've been trying to get across to people for years and just can't get people to understand it. And I was ranting and raving about this for years here on the show before I ever finally got a Mac last year. For strictly got it just for films. I'm not a Mac geek or by any standards, but the software and stuff is so radically different that literally, I had all the best software for PC for video editing money could buy. I had every single one of them, from Avid Pro and to the Adobe Premiere stuff. I have fucking Vegas, Sony Vegas. Just on and on. I had them all. And none of them will produce the quality of video as you see in my little 4-minute teaser trailer to the new film up at theglobalreality.com. It's right there on the first page now. Thanks to Man Hydra for getting that up there for us this weekend. And, none of them will produce the quality that you see in that. And it all has to do with software. And I've tried to tell people that for years, is that there's just something about the software that makes it look better. Software used to analyze medical brains images gives significantly different results if it's run on an Apple Mac or a PC, according to new research. The findings by a team of German researchers has raised concern about potential problems with software analysis. I mean, so what they're telling us now is that the difference between you getting accurately diagnosed for, say, a brain tumor and making the decision to have, chemotherapy or, radiation or whatever it may be done could hinge on whether or not your doctor is using a Mac or a PC. Because literally, there is a huge difference. Data from 30 brain scans was fed into the computer package using a software called Free Surfer. The software is one of the major medical image analysis programs used to measure the size of different parts of the brain. The research team ran the software on Windows and on Macs running different OS versions. They found that not only did Windows and Mac OS installs of the software produce different results, but the version of Mac operating system also had an impact. Each time the software was used, it measured the size and thickness of various structures of the brain. The levels of difference between the computers varied depending upon brain location. For Mac versus PS and Mac OS updates, it was closer to 2 to 5%, but there was a 15% variation just because of a Mac OS update. The discrepancy between the results remains unclear. No, it doesn't remain unclear to me. It doesn't remain. It's the architecture, it's the utilization of the software is built to work perfectly in tandem. If we're talking about a Mac, the software is engineered to work specifically with that hardware. It's engineered for use on Mac specific hardware, whereas with a PC, you got millions of different PC component makers and computer makers, and it's all just a PC, and the software is not engineered to work, and various things change depending on what type of video card you're using, the type of display that you're using, on and on and on. There's factors out the wazoo. But the one thing I've noticed now since I've been using, and I used to use Macs, 12, 13, 14 years ago, and but the way it is now, what I've noticed since I've had some more recent Apple products here, is that it just comes down to the fact that the software is engineered from the very beginning to work in tandem with that specific hardware. And because of there being so many variations of PC hardware, a computer developer or a software developer for PC is not going to have the opportunity to be able to run his software on every single variation of the different PCs that there are. Because you might be running it on a newer PC, or you might be running on an older PC that still has good specs, and maybe you future-proofed yourself when you bought it, so it's still pretty good, but there's just so many factors. And so each year when the hardware, they come out with a specific set of hardware each year, and the Macintoshes are the computers, are Apple computers, are delineated by the year they come out, so that the following year when new hardware comes out, they do updates for the old existing hardware so that the software then works properly on both the new hardware that they brought in for 2012 and any previous hardware you've had from other years. That just doesn't happen on a PC. And so it's interesting, again, I didn't mean to segue into another technology article here, but it's kind of an interesting counterpart to what we were talking about in the last segment where, this shouldn't be a problem. This is where marketing and horseshit has gotten us. Because we should be at the level where, especially if you're talking about, brain scans for brain tumors and stuff like that. So, I guess that's where the sort of technological feudalism that Zbigniew Brzezinski has envisioned comes in. So, if you're poor, you're having to go to the free clinic or something like that, or whatever it may be, or the free emergency room, right? Probably in the free emergency room, they're going to be running some old fucking Windows 2000 machine for your brain scans, right? You would never know it, but you just trust what the doctor says. But if you got good insurance and you got good money and you get to go to the good hospital, oh, well, they're going to be looking at your brain scans over here on the nice brand new Mac machine, right? So here's a little speck on your brain that we picked up. Your other doctor didn't pick that up. Boy, it's a good thing we have the Mac over here. Because if you were over there at that poor people hospital where they're running Windows 2000, boy, you'd be fucked. You'd be dead and you wouldn't even know it. And, having family members that have died of cancer, I have a big problem with that. I have a big problem with it also because Zbigniew Brzezinski was talking about it in the late 1960s. Technological feudalism, the haves and the have-nots created through the ability to be able to have access to technology that can enhance and extend your life versus the poor people who don't go along with the system or don't play the game the way they want you to play it and end up, having shorter lives because of this. So, I don't think it's an accident that's the case. And when you look at the prices of, you can get, you can get yourself 3 pretty nice PC computers. I'd say pretty decent. You can get about 3 of them. You can get, for the price of a good Mac or a MacBook Pro or something like that, literally. And that's what it's come down to. A family of 5 is not going to spend $2,000 on a Mac when they can buy their whole family computers for the same price. And I think that this gap is going to continue to widen. I think it's going to continue to be, that's what it's technological feudalism, man. That's what we're heading towards. Again, I could go on about shit all night. I'm just on fire. I'm just absolutely on fire right now, man. I can't tell you. Oh, man. I got not very much cash to my name. I'm on fire because I don't know. It's finally starting to get somewhere. I just get frustrated because I'm sitting over here with almost nothing to operate with, but yet I'm just on the brink of actually getting to the place I've always wanted to be at, It's a difficult thing to have to contend with. All right. Chapter 26, The Lost Worlds of Ancient America, compelling evidence for ancient something. Chapter 26, Ecuador, point of contact. There are 2 locations in the Americas where the archaeological evidence for cultural diffusionism is so convincing that discussions of ancient transoceanic voyages actually appear in school textbooks. One of these is the Atlantic coast of Canada, where there is concrete evidence of Norse occupation. The site called L'Anse Aux Meadows in northern Newfoundland is now a government-operated historical location with a visitor center and costumed guides. Archaeologists say it was probably occupied for about 30 years, sometime during the 10th century, long before the time of Columbus. The other major location that supports the diffusionist perspective and has also been taken seriously by at least some in the academic establishment is on the Pacific coast of Ecuador in South America. Named for the fact that it lies astride the equator, Ecuador has many interesting geographic features. It is a land of many climates, including those of the tropical Pacific coast, the temperate highlands, and the humid Amazon basin. On its Pacific coast, the Guayas River, the largest river on South America's west coast, has created an immense gulf and estuary where the country's largest urban center, Guayaquil, is located. This major harbor city was founded by the Spanish on the site of earlier native towns. The distinctive opening of this river's mouth on an otherwise featureless west coast of South America is suggestive of its importance as a port or a landmark. The general region known as the Guayas Basin is also blessed with a long shoreline and an abundance of vegetation, including balsa trees. In pre-Columbian times, the region was dotted with villages, the first major signs of civilization that Pizarro encountered on his trip south from Panama. At the southern end of the Gulf of Guayaquil, right on the border, is the old Peruvian port of Tumbes, the gateway to the realm of the Incas and the place where Pizarro landed and began his conquest of that civilization. Traveling east from the Pacific coastal plain, the land in Ecuador rises quickly and reaches a highland area dotted with volcanoes, some that are active. In this mountainous region, snow-capped volcanic peaks occur in two parallel bands running roughly north and south, a feature called the Avenue of the Volcanoes. The land between these high peaks is quite fertile and the climate temperate, strikingly attractive when you consider that this territory lies on the equator. The highlands have been inhabited since ancient times, and the natural corridor formed by the volcanoes has long served as a transportation route between Peru and Colombia. Civilization existed in Ecuador many centuries before the arrival of the Incas. The pre-Columbian kingdom of Quito and the fierce Canary of the Tombaba in the southern highlands were highly sophisticated. Purely Ecuadorian cultural centers that resisted Peruvian expansion for years. Although a majority of surviving Incan ruins are located in Peru, and most people associate the Incas with that country, Quito was the northern Inca capital, and the last two Inca rulers were born in Ecuador. To the east of the Ecuadorian highlands are the rivers that feed the Amazon in a vast rainforest in a region called El Oriente. Rainfall on the highlands drains into several major tributaries of the Amazon, including the huge Rio Napo. In 1542, just a few years into the Spanish conquest of Andean civilization, explorer Francisco de Orellon descended from Quito to the Ecuadorian rainforest. He followed the rivers eastward and 7 months later reached the Atlantic Ocean. Orellana gave the Amazon its name. What we find in Ecuador is a major Pacific port surrounded by forests that approach the coast in a major north-south land route, as well as a water route east to the Atlantic. Such a unique location invites human culture in two ways: as a permanent feature, but also as a place on the way to somewhere else. It is therefore not surprising that some evidence for contact with a distant culture has been discovered and has become a part of the typical, albeit somewhat controversial, curriculum for the students of South America archaeology. This particular evidence is the Valdivia pottery. Just to the north of Guayaquil on the Pacific coast of Ecuador is the small town of Valdivia. There, in 1596, a distinctive type of pottery was found that excited archaeologists for several reasons. First, this pottery was dated as early as 3000 BC, making it, at that time, the oldest known pottery in all of the Americas. Second, the archaeologists who discovered it believe that this pottery appeared abruptly in the archaeological record in a fully developed form. Third, a close resemblance to Japanese pottery of the same era led archaeologists to speculate about contact with the ancient Japanese Jomon culture. So serious were these speculations that they were published in the Smithsonian Institution's Contributions to Archaeology, Volume 1, in 1965, and included in an exhibit at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. A few years after the discovery of the Valdivia pottery, a large-scale dig took place, of course. Yeah. As soon as they found out about that, Smithsonian sent their boys down to confiscate everything, I'm sure, as they have everywhere else. Yeah. Oh, man. I tell you what, if there ever is some shit that goes down, if this motherfucker ever just dissolves into all-out civil war and unrest and everything, I don't know, because at that point it'd just kind of be like, fuck it, can't beat them, might as well join them. I'm gonna tell you straight up, man, if it ever goes down and the shit's going down, there's looting and riots going on, I am pulling me a posse and we are going to the Smithsonian and we are going to loot that motherfucker like it's Christmas morning, son. Them motherfuckers are holding the key. I mean, everybody thinks the Vatican's got it all. Dude, we have here in the United States, we have 2 locations that we know of. I mean, who knows how many more there are that we don't know of. But we have 2 places here in the United States that are admitted to that are holding on to some serious knowledge. One of those is the Beinecke Archive. It's called the Beinecke Archive at Yale University, which contains literally, and it's kind of ironic considering Skull and Bones is there, right? But literally, the Beinecke Archive has the world's largest collection of ancient esoteric and magical scripts and texts and everything else. Beinecke Archive at Yale is one of the biggest archives of things. I mean, it's up there, man. And we also have the Smithsonian. Both of those institutions are withholding evidence and knowledge from the people in a criminal manner, an absolute criminal manner. I'm here to tell you that I want to call out specifically Yale University and the Smithsonian Institute for their literally criminal activity in keeping the real truth of things covered up from the people of the world. Maybe I hadn't made that clear enough on the show. I want to make it clear now. They are criminally involved in keeping information withheld from us, ladies and gentlemen. They, to me, are even more dangerous than some of these groups that we've talked about, like the CMP and the CFR and Trilateral Commission and everything. Literally, folks. I mean, yeah, we can sit there and say, all these groups are lying to us all day long. But you know what? The CMP that I know of, well, I guess there are probably some members like Ralph Hall and stuff that are hiding artifacts. But, I don't know. The CFR members, I don't think are hiding fucking artifacts in their closet and keeping ancient magical manuscripts from us. But Beinecke Archive and Smithsonian certainly are. A few years after the discovery of the Valdivia pottery, a large-scale dig took place where thousands of pottery shards and other artifacts were sorted and classified. Valdivia pottery is characterized by deeply incised designs and decorations on jars and bowls. Another type of artifact found at the excavation included distinctive female or Venus figurines with emphasized hair treatments. The supervising archaeologists of the dig and authors of the scientific papers reporting the finds were Betty J. Meggers, Clifford Evans, and Emilio Estrada. As they sorted through the artifacts, they established a chronology of Valdivia phase periods, lettered A through D. The earliest phase A is dated from about 3000 to 2200 BC. Period B is 2300 to 2000 BC. Period C is 2000 to 1400 BC. And period D is 1400 to 1000 BC. Interestingly, other early pottery sites in South or Central America that share traits with Valdivia pottery were dated to period C or D. In their report, these archaeologists noted that Valdivia A pottery shared the most common traits with pottery from ancient Japan, where the oldest known pottery in the world is found. The diffusionist hypothesis described by Meggers, Evans, and Estrada in their first report suggested that Japanese fishermen on the Middle Jomon period drifted out to sea and were caught by the Japanese current. Months later, having been swept along by ocean currents for some 9,000 miles, they landed in Ecuador. Once ashore, they mixed with the native populations, taught them to make pottery, and also established some burial customs which the two cultures appear to have shared. In other words, their view was that it was only by chance that contact between ancient Japan and ancient Ecuador, and it was probably a one-time occurrence. Or was it? Dun, 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 dun. Well, we're going to leave it there for tonight. Kind of a longer chapter, so we'll stop and get more into it tomorrow night for you as well. I want to thank everybody for being here with us. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. It's TheGlobalReality.com. And we're at the home stretch, folks. Help us out right now. Help us out to get this work and this business done. And because this is it. I mean, I'm at this point where, we're finally getting some attention, but we don't want to fall here at the finish line when we're so close, folks. So please help us out. TheGlobalReality.com. My name is Josh Reeves. I love each and every one of you, and we'll see you next time. You guys have a great one. Take care.